Hello and welcome back to part 3 of my Three Little Pigs. As you can see, I'm actually having a plan for this one. This guy is the one with the house made of bricks. All the details, apart from the hair and his chinny chin chin. So off we go. Just like the previous ones, we start off with an aluminium wire frame. Add some aluminium foil with some tape, all just to bulk it out, so we're not using so much clay. And then I'm just going to put a thin layer of clay to get started on the body shape. We will be adding more to this later on, but this is just to get the overall bulk, and that will be going into the oven very shortly. I want to get started on the head this time, because in the previous ones I'd done the head last, so I wanted to work on his face while I had an idea of what it was going to look like. This guy was supposed to be a bit happier because, you know, he's got a house that's standing up to the wolf, so he's got a smile on his face. Still got that kind of froggy look about him. I was pleased how the face turned out on this one. Lots of details again. I'm using my new dentistry tool. Never know when that might come in handy. Means you can get a lot cleaner lines. A lot smoother. Giving his nose a bit of a pinch, and that made a big difference to how it looked. Bit of a chin. Again, he's going to have some little beard on the bottom there. Using that tool again to add the finer details. Not too bad. Onto some of the accessories that are going to go on here. This is a pencil, so that rather dangerous looking knife is just scoring some grooves in it to make that little metal piece that goes on the end. And he's going to have a clipboard, so first part is the clipboard, and this thinner part is the paper that's going to go on there. And a few various bits and pieces to make up the top of the clipboard. And that'll go in the oven as well. Look, pork pie hat. I thought that was appropriate for a pig. Took me a couple of goes at getting this one right, because I wanted to make that little divot in the top of the hat, and I thought, well, I'll use this tool. Great. Oh, lovely, nice round hole in the top. And the hole was way too deep, so I had to start again. Ended up just using my fingers, I think. And of course, this is way too big for the brim, but I couldn't get the size right first time, so I just made it bigger and then trimmed it to size. And it's still not looking great, but it'll get there in the end. Now that body's been baked, so it means I can add bits to it without worrying about squashing it too much, but there will be more to go on there. His picky toes. And I thought he wasn't looking quite porky enough, so a bit of a belly on there and a bit of a bottom. His trousers are going to be slightly different styles. He's going to have turn-ups on these ones. So rather than putting that little strip on and then blending the top part in, I'm just going to keep it as it is. Because he's a bit smarter than the other two. This one's an architect, so he's wearing a nice smart shirt and tie, some fancy trousers. A few folds and wrinkles in there with some little strips of clay. And adding a few more details into the back of his legs there where he'd be bending. Now, remembering this part is already baked, I'm going to add another strip of clay on there, and this is going to form his shirt. Now if it was just going to be a shirt, I could have just put a little strip on the bottom and blended it in, but I wanted to do something different with this one, which will be shown soon. And here is that bottom of the shirt, just to give it a bottom edge. Blend, blend, blend. And the front edge of the shirt, which is in the wrong place, so I moved it again. Blend, blend, blend. And a few more folds and wrinkles under the arms. Whoops. Let's just sort that out. All the time I'm thinking that front part's going to get covered by his tie, so we don't have to worry too much about all that. And here is the pocket. That pencil's already been baked, so it's not going to get squashed. Bit of adhesive, and on it goes. Using that tool again to put some stitching detail in. And pressing some more lines and details into the trousers. And then adding some seams all over the place. Now I'm going to add some lines into this shirt to make it a nice checked shirt. And go into more detail when we get to the painting part, but this is just an improvement on what I tried to do on the last video. His shirt collar. And his tie. A tie is made out of Cosclay, just so it remains slightly flexible after it's been baked, and texturing it, which would have been a whole lot easier if I'd have done it before I put it on without getting it on the shirt, but you live and learn. Oh, some people do, not me. Adding a bit more detail onto that tie again. And putting a bit more texture on the shirt. Oh, trying to add some texture onto a pre-baked head. Whoops. These arms seem to be more successful. Yeah, I should have moved that. Better view from this side. Really didn't think about how I was going to do this one. I just thought make it with aluminium foil like everything else, but it was really not big enough and it was going to cost me a fortune in foil, so I used cardboard instead. Yes, I did actually measure the brick sizes. And add some texture with this foil, which is really effective for this sort of roughed up look. Look at that, nice. Oh, and a brick as well. Adding the base. Already pre-drilled the holes so we could slot into it. Of course, I'd cover the holes up, so I had no idea where to put them. But we got there in the end. Thereabouts there. Perfect. And then put him the right way around. I didn't want the brick wall just to be sitting on top, so I blended a bit of extra clay in. All that's been baked. I get on with the painting. This is his blueprint, so it's a rolled up bit of paper and using some chalk paint or some sort of pen, I can't remember what it is now, to add some detail on. If there are any actual architects watching, I'm sure this isn't what a blueprint would look like, but it's, you know, an artistic impression of it. So I added a few different coats of different types of paint on there to give it that brick kind of texture with mottled colours. So some washes and some dry brushing. And hopefully it would leave the mortar between looking kind of okay. A little bit of pink on there to add to that brick red. And the base is just brown. So if you remember from the last time, we're trying to draw lines on a check shirt and it was an absolute disaster. And I gave up and just ended up leaving it plain. Well, this time I wanted to give him a check shirt, but I thought we'll put the lines in first, then we'll put a dark blue wash on to get in all those crevices, and then we can paint around it with a lighter colour. You'll see it, but it did actually work. And here I am putting the light coat on. It's more of a dry brushing, so very gently adding that light colour on, hoping to leave the blue lines intact in the grooves, and that worked pretty well. Finishing off that pencil. And dotting the eyes. Just another little bit, and again. This is supposed to be a nice, perfect circle, and it never happens. Bit more. That'll do. So adding a base coat to the tie and the beard, and a little darker wash going into the crevices in his face to add, show the detail off more. Eventually I got the colour right. So just paint it in, wipe off the edges, go a little bit crazy sometimes. It's alright, we'll be going back on that. And onto the dry brushing with a lighter colour. Same sort of thing with the tie, and it just brings out all the surface details. That's me just tidying up the eye line and giving him some rosy cheeks with a bit of pink. Some chrome pen on the metal part of the pencil. That chrome pen again. Learning from my mistakes, I'm actually putting the UV resin on with the end of a toothpick so I don't put too much on. Super glue time. And get him onto the base. Mild panic set in here when I realised he wouldn't go into the base properly, and I was expecting to be stuck completely in the wrong place. But we just took him out, put him back in, other foot first, and adjusted it to suit. Brick done. And it's done. So that's the last one. If you want to see the other three, or the other two of this series, you'll see them if you have a look on the channel. Quite pleased with this one. I have been asked if I'm going to be doing a wolf, and I may get to that eventually. But I do have another one planned, a bit more seasonal, coming up, which I'll be doing first. But thanks for watching. Bye for now.